Now, who do we have here with us this evening?
My name's Rob, and my wife is Michelle. We're with Masterworks Photography.
And you do this for the folks here at CareNet, right?
Yeah, we volunteer and do photography for CareNet for their banquets, and anytime they need some photos for the website, they give us a call, and we're happy to help them out and volunteer our time.
And what was your website again?
It's masterworksphotography.com.
And the phone number was?
859-391-6400.
Well, God bless you in your work, and thank you so much for coming out and helping. And folks out there that need a photographer for their business or whatever, a good company to give a call to. And your website again is
masterworksphotography.com.
Masterworksphotography.com. Well, welcome to Travels with Dr. John Stephenson on YouTube and Facebook. God bless you and have a great evening.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you now. One addition to this part of the video is you know something at home, the smartest move I ever made is June Guyman Stephenson. And I'm assured that you make and will think the same thing. She's the smartest move you ever made.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. We're no dummies, are we? And your name is?
I'm Michelle. I chose well too.
Well, praise the Lord. Well, you both chose well being here tonight.
Yes.
This is a good cause, CareNet, and it's why I'm here, to say good things about them and to let people know that they really help people make the right decisions. You know, I was telling a gentleman earlier that I learned from Billy Graham back in 1956 when I was just a young boy. My little sister and I were taken down there to Louisville, Kentucky with a crusade. And I never will forget the sermon. It's stuck in my mind. And the Holy Spirit's job is to convict. God's job is to judge. My job is to love.
Yes.
And I try to love everybody as best I can, including the unborn.
Absolutely.
Well, God bless you all. And he gave me the website. You want to give it to me one more time?
Masterworksphotography.com.
You all can give them a call. They'll do a great job for you, and they do a great job helping CareNet out here. God bless you and have a great evening. Welcome to Travels with Dr. John Stephenson, the last elected superintendent of education for the state of Kentucky.
Yeah, I was looking you up here, so I'll have to check you out.
You have to check me out.
Yes.
Take care now.
All right, thanks. Let's see. I assume that's it right there. Yep. Is that it?
Yep, that's me.
All right, subscribe. I'll keep track of you now.
Keep track of me. Take care.
All right, thanks.
Go down here and get a little picture of this artist at work.
I'll pay you. We're gonna die in the Catholics. We're dying. She may convert. We're working on it. There you go. She's an authentic Christian. It's not like Mike Davis. It's not one of those radicals that beat you up.
Oh, yeah. Did you see him newly?
Yeah, he's and there's the shoes over there. And some of the Tea Party folks.
Hello. How are you all doing? Oh, that's okay. Are you Ken? Are you with him?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, well, wonderful.
He's my husband.
Is that right? Well, now, there's your smartest move you ever made right there. And I'm Dr. John Stephenson, former Superintendent of Education. Nice to meet you all. God bless you all, and thanks for your hard work. And looking forward to the artwork then.
Thank you. Our pleasure.
God bless you. Let me get a little picture to you all. 1, 2, and 3. Now tell us a little bit about the painting tonight.
Yes.
You'll be working on painting some special paintings, right?
Exactly. Yes, sir.
Well,
yes,
God bless you.
Working on this. Thank you.
Well, thank you all for the work. Have a nice evening now. Dr. John Stephenson. You'll see this on YouTube under Travels with Dr. John Stephenson.
Excellent.
Stephenson.
Excellent.
And former Superintendent of Education, the last elected one statewide. God bless you. Nice to be with you. And I'll get a shot of that picture up there. Thank you very much. Beautiful, beautiful work. God bless you. Thank you now.
Yes, my husband.
Oh, hey, there he is.
Hi, Walt. I know. Nice to see you all. God bless you.
Get a photo?
Now, is this your wife?
Maybe one day.
Well, I can just tell you this. She'll be the smartest move you ever made.
The smartest move I ever made. I'm not sure about the smartest move.
You two get a picture in there too.
I'll grab some coffee.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay. All right.
See you later.
Okay, John.
Take care now. Woo.
Table 9?
Table 9.
Are you?
Yep. How y'all doing?
Right, pretty good. What's your name?
John Stephenson. Dr. John Stephenson.
Photographer.
Photographer, a videographer, all on Travels with Dr. John Stephenson on YouTube and Facebook. You'll all be on right now. Thank you. Tell us who we got here now. What's your name?
Russell Jarvis.
Russell? This is a great evening, isn't it?
Yes, it is. A lot of like-minded individuals.
Nice to see you.
You too.
God bless you and have a great day.
How about you?
Can I have your attention, please? Can I have your attention, please? Before we ask you to sit down for dinner in about 20 minutes or so, I've got a couple of announcements that I've been asking. I'm trying to do my host duties flawlessly tonight, but we'll see how that goes. I want to thank, of course, Masterworks Photography. He's going around taking the individual pictures and so on. Digital photos will be available for download on the CareNet website after the banquet. Use hashtag friendsofcarenet.ky, or Friends of CareNet KY, I should say. If you post your photos on Facebook or Instagram, use the hashtag for that. Also, information tables that are around the perimeter of the room. Visit CareNet information tables along the walls. learn more about the ministry and how you can be involved, volunteers and prayer warriors are needed and highly valued. Check out our resident artist tonight over here, Oscar Nava Olano, sitting over there. Oscar has painted a pro-life canvas that you will have an opportunity to bid on later this summer for our silent auction online. We're also working on another masterpiece during our dinner tonight. Stop by his stage and see him working. He's very friendly. I actually went over and talked to him a little while ago, and I think I interrupted his work, but he was very nice. So stop by while he's working. Be sure to put your email on the donor cards tonight so that you get update emails about our upcoming golf outing for fathers and our online silent auction. Maybe you can get an Oscar Nava original. And I want to direct your attention while we're here. I almost feel like a flight attendant. We have the exits in the front of the building and then behind, and then down the hallway we've got the restrooms and so on. So just let everybody know that. So we'll be getting the program started about 6:10. So if you have an opportunity to go around the various information tables, and we'll get started in a little while. Thank you.
Well, there's only one thing better than getting a great meal and hearing great speeches. It's being sitting by great people.
Are you videotaping that or taking a picture?
I'm putting a little video and taking a picture too.
Picture now?
And now let me ask you this question. Give me your all's names.
Joe Hunt, Mark, Kristen Mark. Yeah.
And your name?
Kristen Donahoe.
Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition of godly principles.
Sounds good, brother. Sounds good. You and Chuck Charlie is over singing over.
Oh my gosh. You guys are really quiet about this. I've never had any. Oh my gosh,
Very smart. He's moving back there.
Best way to be.
Well, he was just there tonight. I had one extra seat I was going to see if he wanted to come. And he said, I'm in New York right now. It's fine.
I say so.
Everyone's watching.
It's like already, I told him I should start, like, I'm not going to feel a lot of things. I feel bad about it, but it is what it is.
They are a tough act to follow. Don't worry. I would put it forward and follow them too. So I'm sure you're just fine. We've created.
Yeah, I create good videos, reviewer, I pull back on stuff like that.
You go.
Yeah, I pull back on stuff. To bail myself out, if I need to be bailed out. Catechism for them, and then it's something too like over the top. But catechism for them, and then New Testament or something. So you gotta look like somebody, right? CFAM is so if you follow, right?
I was just at the Marketing International Conference. Pretty much every organization that's wildlife organizations there. Maybe if I said like, I don't know.
It's sort of they have their own little niche, like they advocate for life in the family. Kind of but they could, like, they do go all the way so is that a game? I don't think I would think is that in the PC?
Beautiful, beautiful group here tonight. Traveled with Dr. John Stephenson and June Guyman Stephenson on YouTube and Facebook under John Stephenson and John A. Stephenson. Are you ready? That's the question. Are you ready? Jesus knocks on everybody's door, and we must reach down and turn the knob and invite him in.
Start making your way to your tables so we can get started. could make your way to your seats, that would be very much appreciated. So that we can value your time and make sure that we get the speakers in time and get you all fed too. Where the exits are, the front and the back. Ladies' room is to the right here, to my right, to your left, and the men's room is over here to the left. I want to thank Masterworks Photography of Burlington for taking all the photos tonight. Watch for a link in CARNETTE email and on your annual banquet page for the next few days to download or order any photos from tonight's event. By the way, I guess I should introduce myself. My name is Kevin Gordon. I am a recovering accountant. About 20 years ago, I started doing talk radio. I was invited to a program, and they asked me to start doing some fill-in work. I've done radio shows in Richmond, Indiana, Frankfort, Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky, also down in Little Rock, Arkansas, obviously Cincinnati, and now back to Cincinnati. I host America's Trucking Network every Tuesday through Friday, 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. And I fill in from time to time for Brian Thomas on 55 KRC, and occasionally even for Willie on 700 WLW. I want to welcome everybody to the 18th annual CARNETTE banquet. It is so great, and I was honored to be asked to do this, to be among.
Is somebody going to pray, John?
Somebody going to pray? I'm not sure. I'm sure they are.
The banquet is CARNETTE's largest fundraiser effort of the year, so we very much appreciate you being with us tonight. We're excited to get together again. I want to take this opportunity to introduce Mike Ensweiler, who's the president of the CARNETTE Board of Directors. I have a great pleasure to introduce him to you. Mike is a Northern Kentucky native, graduate of Newport Central Catholic High School and the University of Louisville. He went on to obtain his law degree from Simon Chase Law School in Northern Kentucky. Mike is now a partner with DBL Law in Covington, where he focuses primarily on defending hospitals, physicians, nurses, and medical malpractice lawsuits. In addition to serving on the board of president at CARNETTE, Mike also serves on the advisory board of Catholic Charities in the Diocese of Covington. Also volunteers as a solicitor for the ACUE appeal. Mike and his wife Maria reside in Wilder with their daughter and 2 sons. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Ensweiler.
Good evening.
Good evening.
On behalf of CARNETTE's Board of Directors and its staff, welcome to the 2024 CARNETTE Annual Banquet. We thank you for joining us to celebrate life and to consider the positive impact that CARNETTE has on the Northern Kentucky community. We're thrilled to be able to host this evening of fellowship with approximately 800 friends of CARNETTE. We thank the staff here at Receptions for their hard work in accommodating this wonderful crowd and preparing a great meal for us. This past year has been both exciting and at times challenging for CARNETTE. Following the Supreme Court's reversal of Roe v. Wade 2 years ago, CARNETTE learned that the importance of its work has not been diminished. For instance, access to the abortion pill has become much easier, even in pro-life states, to the point that the abortion pill is now the most common method of abortion. In addition, several states surrounding Kentucky have seen increases rather than decreases in the amount of abortions. These past 2 years have shown that men and women can still find themselves needing services and support due to an unplanned pregnancy, perhaps in even greater numbers. CARNETTE will continue to provide those services and support, will continue to advocate for life, and will continue to help these men and women become great parents. Another recent challenge that has faced CARNETTE is the growing diversity of Northern Kentucky, especially in Florence, which creates cultural and language barriers that CARNETTE must be prepared to work through. But that is exactly what the staff at CARNETTE is doing, working through this challenge, just as they navigated the challenge of COVID and the drastic changes in the legal landscape. The board and staff at CARNETTE would like to thank everyone who has helped us adapt during these challenging times. I would now like to thank those who enable CareNet to be a beacon of hope and to host great events like tonight. A vital part of CareNet's continued success is the support provided by local companies and families who underwrite the cost of this event. You are essentially attending tonight's event as their guests, so that the gifts you give go entirely to CareNet's ministry. We ask that you please take note of the sponsors that are listed in your program.
Amen. Praise the Lord.
If you yourself are a table sponsor, or if you are here representing a corporate sponsor for tonight's event, I ask that you please stand to be recognized. You may notice that some of the tables in the center of the room had different centerpieces and colors. These tables recognize members of our Champions for Life Society, whose generous contributions specifically fund our ultrasound program. You can find information about the Champions for Life Society in your program and at the back of the room. If you yourself are a champion for life, please stand to be recognized. Tonight, we would also like to recognize the local civic leaders who courageously use their public influence and visibility to promote life. If you are currently serving in public office, or if you are a candidate for public office, please stand to be recognized. We also appreciate our religious leaders who dare to boldly declare the sanctity of human life. If you are a priest, pastor, or deacon joining us tonight, please stand to be recognized. I see my home parish of St. Joe's is well represented. Father Andrew, thanks for being here tonight. CareNet would also like to recognize a partner organization called the Care Closet, which has been such a great blessing to CareNet. Many of our clients struggle to make ends meet, so the cost of diapers alone can be a challenging expense. Every month, the Care Closet donates 50 diapers to around 100 CareNet clients for a total monthly donation of 5,000 diapers plus wipes. These donations save CareNet clients approximately $10,000 per year, money which can then be used for other necessary expenses. If you are here representing the Care Closet, please stand to be recognized. Thank you all for sponsoring our events, for praying, for volunteering, for speaking the truth in your churches, community, and state, and for financially supporting this ministry. CareNet's work has been blessed by the faithfulness of those who stand for the sanctity of life. We thank you each for being here tonight, and we certainly hope you enjoy yourselves. Now please allow me to introduce Father Connor Cuniff, who also serves on CareNet's Board of Directors. Father Cuniff is the Vocations Director for the Diocese of Covington and the Parochial Administrator of Saints Boniface and James Parish. He also serves Notre Dame Academy, the Sarah Club for Vocations, and the Couple to Couple League. Please join me in welcoming Father Cuniff, who will be leading us in the invocation and blessing of the meal prepared for us.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
God Almighty Father, at the moment of creation you bestowed on mankind a special dignity. You created him in your own image and allowed man to share in life and happiness with you. After the fall, you did not abandon sinful man, but rather promised a great Redeemer. In the incarnation of your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, you again bestowed on man another great dignity. You gave us a Redeemer who shared in our own humanity, and so showed your inexpressible and unending love for humankind. Grant, we pray, that every person understand their human dignity, and be given the resources they need to live a life that reflects their special dignity in your eyes. Grant also that those gathered here never be discouraged or disheartened by a lack of results or success. Continually pour out your grace upon us here, that we never lose faith in your abundant mercies, that we persevere in our struggle against the evil that is abortion. Give us the grace and knowledge to witness to our profound belief that every human life is worth living, that every human life is worth saving. Make us channels of your grace so that those who do not share our beliefs may be converted by our way of life. Give our political leaders at every level the wisdom and courage to enact laws that accord with your divine law. Give them the same prudence and wisdom that you bestowed on King Solomon. Give them a deep humility to understand the tremendous responsibility that they have been given in their election to public office. Give them the courage and grace to be the leaders that you ask them to be fierce protectors of life at every stage, but most especially to the life of the unborn. Father, we ask most especially that you pour out your mercies and love upon these people, those people who have been victimized by the horror of abortion. Restore to them the peace of your love. Heal the wounds of abortion, and may they feel your healing presence among them. Grant also healing to our culture, which has been ravaged by this terrible evil. Help married couples once again to manifest your ever-present love for mankind to the entire world. Help these couples to be the witnesses of your love that the world so desperately needs. Tonight especially, Father, we ask you to pour out your abundant blessing upon CareNet's employees, volunteers, benefactors, but most especially its clientele. Bless them all with an abundance of your grace, that your mission might be accomplished, and they might find precisely what they need in your loving care. Finally, we ask that you bring an end to the worldwide scourge of abortion. Convert the hearts and minds of every person in our culture, that we may see abortion for what it is, and may promptly bring it to a complete end. We ask all these things through Christ our Lord.
Amen. Amen.
Father, and of the Son, and
the Holy Spirit.
She might want yes, but not salad. I don't think she'd want salad.
We can take her here if you want to eat.
Yeah, she'll be okay.
Well, we're about ready to get started eating here. Dinner at the receptions. Captains will be calling the individual tables to go to the buffet. Please wait for your turn, and we'll pick up when everybody's had something to eat. Enjoy.
Can I have the sippy cup back?
Where are you from, John?
Independence is where I grew up here, in Taylor Mill, Wolf Road, and
Did you do anything at Simon Kenton ever?
I graduated from Simon Kenton, 1961, and taught school there for a while.
Did you?
Yeah, in fact, I taught probably every system in Northern Kentucky as a substitute teacher, and then I went on to be superintendent of education for the state of Kentucky, the last elected one, 1992. Now I'm just old and filming.
Good job. How you doing, Brent? Jake,
You look nice.
you like it?
Jacket.
Did you have to travel this weekend?
No, not this week.
Just happen to have here Dr. Mosher, Neil Mosher, and State Representative Kim Mosher. Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition to godly principles. Love you. When I push that, okay, so it's running up here video. Just keep it running the whole time. Walk around all the way around the whole room and take pictures. And you take the pictures just by snapping that. See there? But don't touch the other things because that'll shut it off. That shuts it off if you push that one. So just do this one here, tap it, and go around to all the tables and take some pictures and video all the way around. Okay? And just bring it back to me when you're finished. God bless you.
Bless you.
Mike's pissed.
Oh, somebody actually.
Go tell him that he's in that bar.
Boy, oh boy, my friend here brought me a wonderful meal. Praise the Lord and pass the ammunition of godly principles. Nice gentleman here at the table, contractor, general contractor. Just I got it running there already.
Okay.
That tells you it's running.
Okay.
And
You want me to take it?
if you want to take a picture or two, you just push the little button here. The white one right there.
If you want to what?
If you want to take a picture.
Okay, but you want a video,
This
right?
video, it's already on video. It stays
Okay.
running. You can
And
take pictures at the same time.
Do you want me to go and
Just walk around.
walk around?
Just walk
Okay.
around a little bit.
Every day. Ukraine. They go get your
Right. Then it's got like, well, you guys are doing that, then we're going actually.
Yeah, the new one.
I think your state's more lenient. Your liberty.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So they're going with the speed rail. They're really trying to push the expedition, but the problem is it's still.
Of course, run into a great friend here at the meeting tonight and the gathering. Tell us a little bit about Fred, what you've been up to.
Well, same thing, still working on Northern Kentucky right all the time. We're working on the elections right now. We hope people get our newsletter and see who we endorse and vote pro-life. You know?
Well,
that's the issue. That's the issue we got to worry about. We failed this issue, the other issues don't make a bit of difference.
My little niece is one of those ladies you've endorsed.
Oh, yeah.
Julie Jaddock.
Okay.
She's pro-life, and you all endorsed her, and we appreciate
Good
that.
for her.
She's running for state senator over there in southern Kenton County.
Yeah, I know where she's at, yeah.
Oh, yeah, good.
Is she here tonight or what?
I don't know if she's here tonight
Okay.
or not. I came in at the last minute and told them I'd film it for them and put it on YouTube and Facebook.
Oh, good for you.
And so I'm filming the whole thing and trying to promote the organization for them. And that's one of the reasons. Now, where would people reach you if they need to get a hold of you?
Well, I guess they can look it up. Northern Kentucky Right to Life's on the web page. I'm not real good, but they can look that up and find out all the information they need.
Good.
You just probably just Google Northern Kentucky Right to Life and it'll come up. Yeah, I'm not good at that stuff, but other people make it happen.
You've spent your life helping and doing a great job.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of you.
Hey, we've been fortunate. We really have.
Yeah.
Got a great group of people.
Well,
this organization here is fantastic. CareNet does a great job. They really do. They're out there really on the front lines of it all.
Keep me in your prayers. I was in the hospital about 30 days.
Oh, really? What for?
Well, I had to have a pacemaker put in. And,
wow.
And they had to redid it, and then I had a serious fall. After that, fell and hit my head, so I haven't quite been myself.
Yeah.
And but I wanted to come out and film this. And so June said, "I'll let you out of the house tonight, but be careful."
Behave.
Behave.
Hey, John, you're a blessing.
God bless you. We love you.
I'll pray that things go well.
Oh, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Take care.
Good. The good Lord will take care of you.
Okay. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you.
Got to get a plug in for. Now tell us who you are.
My name is Steve Doan. I'm the state representative for House District 69.
And he's running for re-election?
I'm running. We've got the re-election campaigns going well, and the primary election will be on May 21st.
And you won't be going wrong if you vote for him, because the old country politician and country boy John Stephenson says he's a mighty good fella.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Well, God bless you. It's a great event to be out to tonight, promoting the life of others. And keep up the good work, and don't forget my little niece here, Julie Jagger.
Thank you so much.
Julie Jaddock. Take it out.
Take care.
Take care. Well, folks, I just want to say to you that the old country boy here, who was in the hospital for about 30 days, wouldn't have a supper tonight if it wasn't for a fellow by the name of Hunt. And he's sitting here right beside me and offered to go get the meal. So my wife is going to be very appreciative.
Anything for you, man.
Well, and he's a contractor for remodeling and all sorts of things in the greater Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky area.
Yep.
And if people wanted to reach you, they'd reach you at where?
Just go to huntremodeling.com.
Huntremodeling.com.
Yep.
That's sort of like Travelers with John Stephenson on YouTube.
That's right. That's it.
God bless you, and nice to be here at the table with you.
No problem, brother.
And thanks for my supper. And finding my camera for me that I lost, which is my wife's camera.
She would have laid India.
Again, please continue to enjoy your dinner when we start tonight's program. Thank you to Oscar Navalano, who was over there entertaining us with his paintings and stuff. If you haven't had a chance to stop by and talk to him, make sure you do. And again, remember to put your email address on your donor card tonight so that you'll get updates about our upcoming August Golf for Fathers event and the online silent auction information. And now let me direct your attention to the closest screen wherever you are seeing, rather. We've got a video presentation.
Women face tough decisions. Decisions that will change the course. They aren't easy, and they aren't made lightly. When abortion isn't available locally, many women feel their only option is to pack their bags and travel wherever termination is legal, even if it's miles away. Often, that means searching online for an abortion in another state. But in the face of desperation, there is hope. We offer women the support they need to make a life-affirming choice. When a woman faces an unexpected pregnancy, she needs a safe place to turn, somewhere she can find the care, support, and resources to make an informed decision. That's where well-placed digital ads come in. With the latest technology and marketing best practices, we can reach women online and provide them with the care they need to make a decision for life. By donating today, You can help us expand our reach and connect with more women who need our help. With your support, we can make sure that no one has to face an unexpected pregnancy alone.
The title of that video was Crossing State Lines, by the way. Our next speaker has been involved in the pro-life ministry since 1990 and joined CARNETTE Pregnancy Services of Northern Kentucky in 2005. She was named Executive Director in 2009. Under her leadership and ministry, she's expanded to include 3 locations serving Northern Kentucky. All 3 are now medical centers offering ultrasound services that are so vital to a woman's decision to choose life. Lindy's commitment to saving the lives of children waiting to be born and her compassion for their parents is profound. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming CARNETTE's Executive Director, Lindy Zembro.
Hi guys. At CARNETTE, our greatest challenge to save precious lives is in reaching each woman who faces an unintended pregnancy. I shared with you the media clip to make you aware of our financial need to compete with the Goliaths of the abortion industry through increasing our online and local marketing efforts. There are many of you here tonight who have been faithful supporters of CARNETTE, and you've helped us build this and sustain this life-affirming ministry, and we thank you. Your partnership with CARNETTE has grown, as we've said, this life-affirming ministry from 1 to 3 medical centers, serving the Northern Kentucky area with 26 paid staff and 115 volunteers, providing pregnancy testing, limited obstetrical ultrasound, sexual health services, and 34 educational programs, all at no cost to expectant parents in a Christian atmosphere. I'd like you to meet the CARNETTE team who work together to provide the care and compassion to those facing life choices. Tara Rapp, would you please stand along with Tammy Warner and Joy Tarleton. I just want you to stay standing. Tara Rapp joined us in like 2007, and she came on as a volunteer. Also, Tammy Warner joined us as a volunteer and now serves as our medical manager. And Joy Tarleton, in the same light, joined us as a volunteer, and now Joy is all things financial to sustain this ministry. And does she not throw a great party? They each have a team of skilled individuals that they work with to carry out the compassionate services at CARNETTE. Could I have all staff, all medical personnel, all the mentors, and all the volunteers please stand at this time? But wait, there's more. We are all grateful to serve under a board of directors that are led by our Heavenly Father to carry out this mission. Could I have our board of directors please stand? The CARNETTE team is happy to report that it was a record year as we provided 3,233 client services. And to meet the growing client demand for educational programs, we added the position of programs coordinator, and we're blessed to have 50 trained volunteer mentors engaging our program clients. To reach the Hispanic community, we were awarded a grant for a part-time Spanish-speaking advocate mentor to provide mentoring and education. We also are pleased to have a French-speaking Congolese volunteer who is helping to minister to the Congolese community. Additionally, we expanded our capacity for medical services and appointments by hiring and training 2 nurse practitioners, increasing our dedicated medical staff to 7. Increasing the medical staff has resulted in a 78% increase in pregnancy test patients and a 65% increase in ultrasound patients this year. And we are ever so pleased to report that 92% of the women who had an ultrasound at CareNet chose life for their unborn babies.
Amen.
Our increased efforts, oh, wait a minute, but the best news. Our team is blessed to report that 1,837 babies have been saved from abortion. As a direct result of the services provided by CareNet. So thank you. So, our increased efforts to save and change lives does impose an increased financial need. Later in the evening, you're going to have the opportunity to join us in financial giving to expand and sustain this vital ministry of life. I wish to thank all, because there's so many in this room, who have believed in, prayed for, and financially supported this mission to educate, support, and empower men and women before, during, and after an unplanned pregnancy while uplifting the sanctity of human life. I'd like to leave you with some heartfelt messages from a few of our precious clients with a short media presentation.
Hi, my name is Alexis Manning. The way CareNet has helped me is by, when I was pregnant, I came to them, they gave me confirmation of pregnancy, they did an ultrasound, and I found out I was having twins, and then they helped me sign up for classes to earn diapers, earn while we learn, and they also helped me get clothes and stuff to help me, because I am a mom of now 6 kids. As of that time, I was only 4. I appreciate them so much and have so much gratitude for all the people that work there, and I have let everyone know that if they ever need services, to please go to CareNet because they're so caring and understanding. Thank you, CareNet.
Hi, my name is Fredericka, and I'm in CareNet's pregnancy and breastfeeding classes. They were a tremendous help. I got a car seat, a crib for during the classes, and I got tons of diapers. I met some amazing people, and they were just so helpful.
Hello there. My name is Cordelia Manning, and when I think about CareNet, I think about all the different ways they've helped me and my family. They've provided us with diapers, wipes, formula, all kinds of the essentials. But my favorite thing about CareNet was the fatherhood course. I feel I really learned a lot from it, and it helped make me a better father for my family. So thank you, Jeff, and thank you, CareNet. Have a wonderful day.
Hi, my name is Zaya, and I have so many reasons why I love CareNet, and I could go on and on this video with you for 2 hours, so I'll keep it short and simple. Shortly after giving birth to my son, he had lost a lot of his birth weight and wasn't latching, and I felt like a failure. I was crying in the pediatrician's office, and sure enough, I was able to call Miss Red and Miss Helen, and they just motivated me, told me to keep trying, keep going. And here I am 2 years later, and now he is still breastfeeding at almost 2 years old, so I really want to thank them for all their words of encouragement. And then I also want to thank my amazing mentor, Miss Maureen. She's a mother of 6, and she just gave me so much wisdom to carry on throughout my son's life and how to raise him up in this cruel, cold world. So I just want to thank CareNet, and I love all of you guys.
speaker tonight is Scott KLUSENDORF. Scott travels throughout the United States and Canada, training pro-life advocates to persuasively defend their views in the public square. He contends that the pro-life message can compete in the marketplace of ideas if properly understood and properly articulated. Scott has appeared on nationally syndicated Christian programs such as Dr. James Dobson's Focus on the Family, the Albert Mohler radio program, Lee Strobel's Faith Under Fire, Hank Hanegraaff's The Bible Answer Man, Dr. D. James Kennedy's Truths That Transform, Richard Bland's For Faith and Family, Tim Wildman's American Family Radio, Kirby Anderson's Point of View, Todd Wilkins' Issues, etc. Do you ever take a breath? Todd Friel's Way of Master, Billy Graham's Hour of Decision, and Moody Radio Primetime America with David Wheatley. Nationally, Scott has participated in numerous debates at the collegiate level. His debate opponents have included Nadine Strawson, president of the ACLU, Catherine Colbert, an attorney who has argued for abortion rights in the Supreme Court case, and Kathy Neer, president of Planned Parenthood of California. Scott has debated or lectured to student groups at over 80 colleges and universities. Each year, thousands of students at Protestant and Catholic high schools are trained by Scott to make persuasive case for the life as part of their worldview training prior to college. Scott is an author of the Case for Life, equipping Christians to engage the culture. This book was released in March of 2009 and re-released this past November. Follow and listen to his podcast, The Case for Life. Scott is a graduate of ACLU, or UCLA. Damn. I'm going to get booed off the stage here. Let's erase that and start. Scott is a graduate of UCLA with honors. Please welcome Scott.
I think a Kentucky fan got to Kevin before that introduction. Before we go any further, I'd like us to stand and acknowledge Lindy for 15 years of service to this ministry. Would you join me in thanking her? We appreciate you, Lindy. Thank you for your service. In our house, when you graduate high school, we have Dad does not buy you a car. However, Dad will buy you an experience. I will cash in frequent flyer miles and you get to point on some spot on the globe you want to visit, and Dad takes you there. Well, when my oldest boy, Jeff, graduated high school, I didn't even need to guess where we were going. I got the tickets reserved even before talking to him. We were going to go to the beaches of Normandy, France, because Jeff is a history buff. And he wanted to go to Omaha Beach, where on June 6, 1944, the first wave of Army Rangers that hit the beach in an attempt to begin freeing Europe from the clutches of Adolf Hitler, our guys sustained in that first wave 80% casualties. And there were reasons for it. The tide charts had been mistaken. Our guys thought they were going to get dropped into water shoulder depth. They were dropped into water 20 to 30 feet in depth. They're carrying 100 pounds of weaponry. Many of them go straight to the bottom and drown before even getting a shot off. Those that don't drown survive only by ditching their weaponry, but now they have a challenge. They have to navigate a beach with enemy soldiers firing at them from in front and on the sides, and they had to navigate that beach with no weapons with which to engage. And if you saw the first 30 to 40 minutes of Saving Private Ryan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The carnage was unbelievable. And when you go to that American cemetery there at Normandy, it is a breathtaking experience. I don't think I've been more moved at a historical monument than at that American cemetery. And while we were standing there, Jeff said to me, Dad, let's go down to the water and let's wade out into the surf and then turn and walk back toward the land the same way our guys did that day. We're standing out there having this unbelievably emotional father-son bonding moment, and the French tour guide is yelling at us in French, come on, you're holding up the whole group. I'm like, hey babe, we saved your butts in this war. We're gonna stay right here and enjoy this moment. Thank you very much. I do not work for the State Department, in case you're wondering. But as I was standing there, men and women, I got a picture or a sense of what it must have felt like to not have what you need to engage a well-entrenched foe. And I want to speak tonight for a few minutes on this theme, making a case for life on hostile turf. And I'll tell you why I think that is significant for you here tonight. Since the reversal of Roe versus Wade, which was a good thing, don't anybody tell you it wasn't, you have noticed that we are 0 for 8 every time the issue has been put to the public for a vote. And we're going to lose a few more of these. Most recently in Ohio, there was a terrible defeat we suffered. Why is the culture going the wrong way on this? And here's the reason. It's not that we are bad as marketers, as pro-lifers. Our problem isn't marketing. Our problem isn't that we're mean. Our problem isn't that we don't look cool. Here's the problem. The culture does not agree with us at the worldview level that the unborn are members of the human family. We face a worldview challenge, and that means every one of us in this room needs to be equipped to know how to defend our pro-life view in a minute or less. In fact, before you leave here tonight, you will know how to defend your pro-life view in a minute or less. And you saw those police officers when you came in, they're guarding the door. You ain't leaving until you demonstrate you can do it. So listen up, all right? Now, this matters because all around us we talk to people who think that anything related to pro-life is a matter of blind faith. In fact, Pope Benedict put it real well over 20 years ago when he described what's the challenge facing our culture right now. He said this, our primary challenge right now is we live under a dictatorship of relativism. And if you can tolerate a Presbyterian who attends a Southern Baptist church interpreting the Pope, here's what he meant. Our culture has become so morally permissive that you can marry your canary if you want to. But don't you dare claim your religious or moral truth claims are true with a capital T. The minute you claim they're objectively true, we're not going to tolerate you. And I think you know this. You look around the people you talk to, they think religious faith is a blind leap in the dark. It's something you believe in spite of evidence. Now that is not the biblical view of the word faith. The biblical worldview has this as the definition of faith. Trust based on evidence. It's what you see in the book of Hebrews. Faith is the evidence of things unseen. For example, this morning I had faith that the airplane would get me here. I looked up in the cockpit, there were 2 guys in uniform with thousands of hours of flying experience. I was on a reputable airline. Delta stands for, don't expect luggage to arrive, but you will. And I had faith the plane would get me here, but it was not blind faith. It was trust based on evidence. But we live among a culture, neighbors, fellow students, co-workers, who think that when it comes to the pro-life issue, we are the way we are just because we have wishful thinking. That's what they think. Or that we don't like abortion. What's the most popular bumper sticker you see on cars related to abortion? Don't like abortion? Somebody finish it for me. Don't have one. As if the entire thing is about likes and dislikes. And it has nothing to do with that. We are making a moral argument, and we need to know how to do that. And we're going to talk about how we do that tonight. And I have some good news for you. You may think, wait a minute, I don't have a PhD in philosophy. I don't have advanced degrees in metaphysics or rocket science. How can I be expected to make a case for life that's clear on hostile turf? I have good news for you. You don't need to answer every objection. You don't need to memorize every objection you might get hit with. You just need to be clear on 3 questions. And if you're clear on these 3 questions that we're going to look at tonight, you can make a difference where God has placed you. Now, before I get to those 3 questions, I want to address one other thing. Some of you might be thinking, wait a minute. We're celebrating a ministry tonight, CARNETTE, that is about meeting the felt needs of women and helping their families come to terms emotionally and connect with people who are really struggling You're talking about all this stuff that sounds like it's intellectual stuff. Can I just help you here? Every time a client comes through the door of CareNet and Lindy and her team engage that client, they are indeed meeting her felt needs, no doubt about it. You've already heard tonight about ways that's happening. You heard the client testimonies that testified to that. But can I tell you something else that's going on? There is a spiritual battle at the worldview level going on as well. Because if that client comes through the doors of CareNet and she leaves believing that moral truth is real and knowable and she has a duty to line up with it, her child's going to live. If she leaves CareNet believing that her child has value because it bears the image of its maker, her child's going to live. But if that client comes totally brainwashed, believing that morality is up to her, that children only have value if parents ascribe value to them, if she buys that worldview that says human beings are nothing special, we have real challenges reaching that client. So worldview matters. And as you pray for CareNet, can I encourage you that you pray that the Lord will equip them to do spiritual warfare, because that's exactly what's going on.
Amen.
And let me define spiritual warfare. We tend to think of it as, oh, it's praise and worship or fasting, or maybe, you give something up for Lent. Can I tell you how the Apostle Paul defines spiritual warfare in 2 Corinthians chapter 10? He talks about taking ideas captive that exalt themselves against the knowledge of God. That is the essence of spiritual warfare. So when you pray for Lindy and the team here, not only pray and thank God that they're doing a great job ministering to the felt needs of the client, but pray that God equips them uniquely to engage that client's head as well as her heart, because she's bringing a worldview to that counseling room. And we all need to understand what that worldview is and know how to engage it intelligently. So here are the 3 questions we need to be clear on. Number 1, we need to be clear on the question, what is the unborn? And I'll explain why that question is at the crux of this whole thing. Number 2, we must be clear on the question of what makes humans valuable in the first place. What is it that gives us dignity? I really appreciated, Father, the invocation where you prayed and talked about how each of us is uniquely crafted in the image of our Creator. That is exactly right. How do we convey that to a culture that rejects anything that smells like church? We're going to talk about that. And thirdly, we need to be clear on what our duty is. What is it we're supposed to do? Let me tell you one thing your duty is not. Your duty is not to close the sale. Too many people think that if the person doesn't slap themselves on the knee and say, thank you for straightening out my twisted thinking, we have somehow failed. Now, how many of you in this room have been married at least 25 years? Put your hands up. Okay, keep them up. How many of you, how do I put this delicately? When you've been in a discussion with your spouse and you were winning, every rational mind in the universe knew you were winning, the Lord knew you were winning. And your spouse changed the subject. Can I see your hands? Put them up high. Yeah, okay, all you prideful people with your hands up, let me ask another question. How many times have you changed the subject when you were losing? There's not a lot of saved people here tonight. We've got our work cut out for us. You know what your job is as a pro-life ambassador? It's not to convert people on the spot, though we're always happy when that happens. My friend Greg Kokel puts it well. You know what your job is? It's not to close the sale. It's to put a pebble in their shoe. You ever had a pebble in your shoe when you're out hiking? It's going to wear on you and wear on you until you deal with it. Your job is to give them something to think about, and these 3 questions will help you do that. So let's dive in. First question, what is the unborn? Everything in this debate comes down to that question, and let me illustrate it this way. I want you to imagine that you're cleaning up one night after supper. You're standing there at the kitchen sink with your back turned to your 5-year-old boy, and that boy comes in, that little guy, with your back turned as you're scrubbing away, and he says to you, Daddy or Mommy, or maybe Grandpa or Grandma, can I kill this? Some of you are looking at me like, cute little boys would never ask such a question. May I enlighten you? This ring right here says I've been married 38 years to the most glorious woman in all of Christendom. We have a son 32, we have a son 30, we have a son 27. and a daughter 22. I have personally heard the question, Daddy, can I kill this, more times than you can count. Almost always with his hands wrapped around his brother's throat when he's asking the question. I do not do parenting counseling, in case you're wondering. What's the first question you're going to ask when that little pipsqueak says, Daddy or Mommy or Grandma or Grandpa, can I kill this? Not why, what? What has he got? Cockroach, fire ant, snail, do whatever you want, just don't show your sister. Neighbor kitty, whoa. Brother by the throat, call the pastor, call the priest, you have issues to deal with, right? The point is, you would never in a billion years say, sure son, have at it, till you answered that predicate question, what has he got? Now some of you might be thinking, that's a really odd illustration. Let me tell you why it's not. We just solved the abortion issue. Can we kill the unborn? The answer is yes. If. Half of you just passed out. If what? If the unborn are not human. But we have to answer the question, what is the unborn, before we answer the question, can we kill them? And that's the question our culture wants to bury right now. They don't want to ask that question. But let me be really clear here. I am vigorously pro-choice on women choosing their own husbands, choosing their own worldview, choosing the careers they wish to pursue, the wardrobes they wish to purchase. I'm pro-choice on a whole lot of things, even the cars they wish to drive, unless they're Priuses. I'm pro-choice on all of those things. However, some choices are wrong. Like intentionally killing an innocent human being simply because he's in the way of something we want. That's a choice a civil society ought not allow. But it's that question, what is the unborn, that so many people want to assume an answer to without really answering it. In other words, they just assume the unborn aren't human. Let me give you an example. Would anybody you know argue for choice and who decides if we were talking about killing 5-year-olds? No. Would they argue about a right to privacy if we were talking about killing teenagers? Some of you are going, wait a minute, let's discuss that one. Would they? No. Why do they talk that way with the unborn? Because they are assuming the unborn aren't human. They haven't argued for it. They're just assuming it. It would be like me knocking on your door and saying, hello, I'm here from the IRS, and I'd like to know, when did you start cheating on your taxes? And you protest, you bring your spouse to the door. We don't cheat, do we, honey? No, of course not. And I keep saying, when did you start? And no matter what you say, I keep coming back to the assertion, when did you start cheating? Well, you would admittedly be upset with me, and you would rightly point out that I was assuming the very thing I was trying to prove. I hadn't presented any evidence, I hadn't argued for it, I was just assuming it. And this is what people do with abortion all the time. And I'll give you another example. I'm not going to get political tonight, but the current president of the United States, whose initials are Joe Biden, said the following on the anniversary of Roe versus Wade. A few years ago, he said this: reproductive freedom, by which he means abortion, reproductive freedom, he said, is good for, quote, everyone. And we should all celebrate it, every one of us. Mr. President, with all due respect to your office, does, quote, everyone, unquote, include the unborn? Is reproductive freedom good for them? You see, the president simply assumed the unborn weren't human. He didn't argue for it. And our first duty as pro-life apologists is to not let that assumption slide by unchallenged. We need to push back on that. And I want you to know tonight, I'm going to answer the question, what is the unborn? I'm not going to assume an answer, I'm going to argue for an answer. What is the unborn? We're not going to turn to the teaching magisterium of the church. We're not going to turn to the Bible. We're not going to turn to any faith tradition to answer the question, what is the unborn? The question, what is the unborn, is not a theological or philosophical question. It is first and foremost an empirical one. We're going to turn to the science of embryology. And here's what that science is going to tell us in a sentence. From the earliest stages of development, from the one-cell stage, you were a distinct, living, and whole human being. I want you to do something to help illustrate this. I want you to hold your hand up like this and give yourself a good pinch on the back of your hand. Go ahead. Ladies, if your husband isn't participating, grab skin cells off the back of his neck. Give yourself a good pinch. Okay, congratulations. You just sent a couple of hundred somatic cells hurling to their demise on the lap in front of you. And the news gets even worse, men and women. Each one of these cells you just sent hurling to their early demise individually contains your DNA encoding. Did you just commit mass homicide? For those of you nervously laughing, you did not. Let me explain why. Yeah, I heard that. Let me explain why. I want you to feel at ease here tonight, young lady. These cells on the back of your hand are merely part of a larger human being, you. They are not distinct whole human beings the way you were at the one cell stage, the way I was at the one cell stage. There's a difference in kind between each of our bodily cells that are parts of larger human entities and us at the one cell stage where we are already distinct living human beings, although we have yet to grow and mature. That's the science of embryology. Well, why is this a challenge for people? Now, for some people, they willfully don't want to know the facts. They're not interested. But there's a lot of other people, their intuitions trip them up at this point. Because here's what they do. They look at a picture of an early embryo, and here's their comment. That doesn't look like a baby. And you know what? They're right. It's not a baby. But it is a human being at the earliest stages of development. And sometimes our intuitions can be mistaken. I'll try to explain it this way. For everyone in the room under the age of 45, please listen to me very carefully. There was a time when we did not take pictures with our phones. We had these devices called cameras. In case you have no idea what that is, a camera was a rectangular looking thing, and there'd be a round shutter. The light would open up, light would come through the lens and record images on this stuff called film. Film was expensive. We did not waste it taking pictures of our food, okay? Just, if you're a dude, by the way, and you post a social media picture of a dainty plate of food that looks like something out of a tea party from England, I unfriend you. It better be a rack of ribs from Texas Roadhouse or an In-N-Out burger, or we're done, all right? But the way it would work, for those of you under the age of 45 that need a tutorial right now, after you shot 36 pictures, you gently remove the film from your camera. You put it in a little plastic canister. Some of you are doing the muscle memory on me here now. You can feel the click of that thing when you shut it, right? And you drive to the far corner of the neighborhood supermarket where there was in the parking lot there a little yellow and white shack called Photomat. You would drop your pictures off. You would wait a month and a half for them to come back. Half of them overexposed. How many of you know I'm preaching gospel truth right now? Yeah, that's right. You know, you experienced it. Mm-hmm. Well, of course, the only antidote we had to that was the Polaroid camera. And the Polaroid camera, which showed up in the late 50s, early 60s, allowed you to shoot a picture. By the way, are Polaroid cameras still around? Yeah. Okay, all right, good. I don't know how they work now. I haven't seen one in decades, but the way they used to work, you would shoot the picture, it would spit the thing out, you pull it out and shake it for a minute or so, and the picture would gradually emerge. Is that still how they work? Yeah. All right, roughly speaking. I want you to pretend that we are going to dismiss this banquet right now, and we are going to go over to CVG, and we're going to get on a charter flight, and we're going to fly to Mexico City, where we are going to board tour buses that are going to take us deep into the jungles of Mexico. And we are going to go on a safari, a Mexican safari, all of us together. And you happen to be at the front of this safari. And to borrow an illustration from philosopher Richard Stiff, you are at the front of this safari with your Polaroid camera, and you just happen to snap a picture of a black jaguar jumping across the trail in front of us. And you are literally trembling with excitement because not only did you get a black jaguar in the wild, which is rare enough, you got it midair. It's the perfect photograph. You know National Geographic is going to pay you big bucks for this pic. And while you're waiting for it to emerge, I come up behind you, rip your camera out of your hands, yank the paper out of it, and tear up your photo. Are you angry at me? Yeah, you kill me even if you are pro-life, right? What if I glibly replied, what's the big deal? I didn't see a jaguar. All I saw was a white paper with a brown smudge on it. Is that in any way going to satisfy you? Never in a billion years. You're going to look at me and you're going to say this. You're an idiot. That jaguar in the picture was already there. We just couldn't see him yet because he was still developing. From the one-cell stage, men and women, you were already there. We just couldn't see you yet because you're still developing. That's the science of embryology, and that's the intuition that so many of our friends get wrong. But there's another question they get wrong, and that's this one. What is it that makes humans valuable in the first place? Because we face a culture right now where two rival views of humanity are colliding. There's an endowment view that says you and I are valuable and equal because we are endowed with rights from our Creator and dignity. The rival view says being human is nothing special at all. What matters is what functions you can perform. And I'll try to illustrate it this way. In just a minute, I'm going to have you look around the room and stare at some people. Get ready, don't do it yet. If there are any young dudes here, and you're looking around this room going, you know, these pro-life events get a lot of nice-looking young ladies. You're right, they do. Show up at more of them. You may want to make eye contact, and this will be your God-sanctified moment to do it. Ladies, we're going to be egalitarian. You too can look around. If you are married, I trust you know where to look, and if you don't, please see me or see one of the other clergy here tonight. We'll try to help you with this. When I count to 3, give some people the evil eye. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Start staring at them. Give them the eye. Give them the eye. Some of you are having way too much fun at this. Go ahead and look back this way. I have a question for you. As you were staring at people around this room, what makes us equal? Are we all physically equal? I can tell you at age 64, I cannot play basketball the way I could at age 24. In fact, a couple of years ago, I did something my wife, Stephanie, considered suicidal. I went back to the high school where I played basketball, and I played on the alumni team against the current student basketball team. We beat them by 24 points. It's called Old Man Smarts, and it also helped. We had a lot of fresh young graduates with really strong, energetic legs who helped us out a lot. But yours truly took one shot in that game because I'm too slow to get open for a shot. One shot, it was a three-pointer, and baby, I drained it. Nothing but net. And I had a rebound and 2 steals. Some of you are going, man, I could do that getting out of bed in the morning. When you're my age, you have one goal for that game. Avoid the ambulance, right? Well, if I had to play basketball against a lot of you I'm looking at right now, I would lose because at my age, I don't have the speed and agility to keep up with you any longer. The three-point shot's still there. I'll beat you at horse, but that's about it. But if Planned Parenthood is right, that development is what gives us value, and if they're right that we can dismember a living human fetus in the womb because he's not as developed as we are, if it is development that gives us our value and dignity, and you have more of it than me, you have a greater right to life than me, and human equality is out the window. Are we all equally self-aware right now? How many of you had coffee? Not decaf, coffee, after dinner or before coming here tonight? Can I see your hands? Okay, several of you. You are smart people. If you did, your synapses are firing on all cylinders right now. You're tracking with me, no problem at all. If you did not, the carbs from dessert are settling in and you are this side of comatose as I speak. I won't ask which you are, but that's the reality. But if Peter Singer is right, the ethicist at Princeton University, that we can destroy both a human fetus and a human newborn because neither is self-aware, and he's right, neither is. If self-awareness gives you your value and dignity and you have more of it than me, you have a greater right to life than me, and human equality is out the window. So what is it that gives us our dignity and value as you were staring at each other? It's not something that comes in degrees like development or self-awareness. Rather, what gives us our dignity is simply this. We all have the same human nature. that if you're a Christian, you know bears the image of our Maker. But you might be thinking, what do you mean by nature? That's getting really academic here. It's way too late at night for that kind of stuff. This isn't hard though. All living things have natures that determine what they are. Anybody here have goldfish? Can you raise your hands? Okay, that did not age well. Let's try a different one. How many of you have pet reptiles? Turtles, snakes, hopefully the non-venomous kind. Okay, that didn't do so well either. One guy over there on the far flank there. All right, let's get better here. How many of you have dogs? What kind of nature does your dog have? Dog nature, canine nature. See, this is not hard. All right. Any of you here have a hamster? Okay, what kind of nature does your hamster have? A hamster nature. Yes, you're exactly right. Let's give it up for her. Yes, that's right. Now, how many of you have cats? What kind of nature does your cat have? Demonic. Now, my cat has destroyed 2 of my leather jackets. I'm scheduling a cat hanging for next Tuesday before my wife returns from a trip. Not really. Don't send me hate mail. We're not really going to do it, but it's fun to talk about it. You're a human being. What kind of nature do you have? Human nature. When did you get your human nature? The moment you began to exist. Fertilization. Now, there'll be people who push back on this. They'll say, oh, yeah, adults have a human nature, but not that 10-celled embryo. No way. Here's the question you need to put to them. How is it possible for 2 human parents to create offspring that isn't human, but later becomes so? How is that possible? To quote the great philosopher Ricky Ricardo, they have some splaining to do at this point. How is it possible that 2 human parents create offspring that isn't one of us, but later becomes one of us? They got to argue for that. It's not enough to just assert it. But there are differences, of course, between you, the embryo, and you, the adult, but that's really not the issue we're dealing with philosophically. The question is not, are there differences? Because there are. The question is, do the differences matter such that we can say it's okay to kill you as an embryo or fetus, but not today as an adult or young adult? And when you look at yourself as the embryo versus the young adult or adult you are today, you will note that there's 4 principal differences, as Stephen Schwartz has pointed out, and none of them are good reasons for saying you could be killed then, but not now. Now I'm going to stop for a moment and preach a very short parenthetical homily. Get ready. Pro-life Christians in particular too often assume the burden of proof when they shouldn't. If I claim there's a pink elephant swinging from the exit sign back there, the 3 of you that just looked did the right thing. Who bears the burden of proof? You or me? Me, because I made the claim. If somebody claims an embryo can be destroyed because it's not self-aware, who bears the burden of proof to describe why self-awareness matters in the first place? You, the listener, or the speaker? The speaker. So when people point out that there's differences between you, the embryo, and you, the adult, they have not finished the hard work of establishing their case or refuting yours. They need to explain why these differences matter in the first place. So let's look at some of the differences. Size. You can remember these differences by using the acronym that Stephen Schwartz speaks of, SLED, SLED. Size, level of development, environment, and degree of dependency. None of them are good reasons for saying we could kill you then, but not now. Size, there's your S for that acronym. You were smaller as an embryo. But men and women, since when does body size determine value? Men are generally larger than women. Do men deserve more rights than women simply because they tend to be larger? Okay, if you're a guy doing this, stay single, okay? Now, Shaquille O'Neal, the former 7'2" basketball star, is a foot taller than nearly everyone in this room. Is he more human and valuable because of it? Clearly, body size, as a matter of principle, is not a good reason for saying we can intentionally kill you then, but not now. What about L, your level of development? You were less developed as an embryo. I admit that, no problem there. But since when does development determine whether or not you can be killed? 2-year-old girls are less developed than 21-year-old young women. That 2-year-old does not have a developed reproductive system yet. Is she less human and valuable than the 21-year-old who does? I speak to a lot of high school students, and recently I was at a Catholic high school with 700 or 800 students there, and I said to those students up in the gymnasium bleachers, I said, you are less developed than your parents. You're less developed than your parents physically, and you're less developed than your parents intellectually, which came as a complete shock to many of them. But you're not going to reach your intellectual peak until your mid-40s. Do mom and dad have a greater right to life than you simply because they're more developed? What about your environment, where you're located? How does where you are determine what you are? If you drove at least 17 miles to come to dinner tonight, can you put your hand up? Okay, this is a dedicated crowd, Lindy. 27 miles. Okay. 47 miles? 807 miles, I win. Okay. Now, if a journey of 27 miles, Gary, did not change you from one kind of thing to another as you were driving your semi down the road, did you bring Lindy to the dinner tonight in the truck? Oh man, you would have just scored huge man points if that had been pulled off. Next year, if she'll allow it. If a journey of 27 miles doesn't change you from one kind of thing to another, how does a journey of 7 inches down the birth canal suddenly transform you from non-human, non-valuable thing we can intentionally kill to a valuable human being we cannot? Location does not determine value. What about your degree of dependency? Yeah, you depended on your mother for survival, size, level of development, environment, degree of dependency. But how does dependency on another human being mean we can intentionally kill you? I'm going to get their names wrong, but I'll try my best. I think they're known as the Henschel twins. Abigail, and I think the other twin's name is Brittany. They are conjoined twins, and the press has followed them since infancy. You look at a picture of these women that are now in their early 30s, you see one set of legs, and then from the waist up, 2 body trunks, 2 shoulders, 2 heads. They share vital organs. Their circulatory systems are all intertwined. You cannot separate them without killing both of them. But men and women, if it's true that you have no right to life until you can live independent of another human being, neither one of those young women has a right to life, and both can be killed. Size, level of development, environment, degree of dependency are not good reasons for saying we could kill you then, but not now. That leads to our final question we're going to look at tonight. What is our duty? And I'm going to give you our duty in a sentence. I'm not going to give you 200 things to do. I'm going to give you just 2 things in one sentence. Our duty, which CareNet exemplifies gloriously, is this: to love our unborn neighbor and his mother. That's our duty. And you know what? The cost of that is going up. The very first thing we need to do to love our unborn neighbor is to know how to defend them. So I want to give you a defense for the pro-life view in a minute or less. The next time somebody asks you, well, why are you pro-life? Here's what you're going to say. You're going to do it in a minute or less. Lindy, can you time me? Do you have your phone present? Who has a phone ready? Kevin's got it. Okay, Kevin, I'm going to have you time me to see if I pull this off. When I say go, you start the clock, okay? Let's say you have an Aunt Betty. She's from Boston, and she is not Catholic. She's not religious. She's not Protestant. She doesn't believe in God, and she's certainly not pro-life. And she says to you, between bites of turkey and stuffing next Thanksgiving, now why are you pro-life? Here's what you're going to say to her in a minute or less. You ready? Start the clock. Aunt Betty, I'm pro-life because it's wrong to intentionally kill innocent human beings. And the science of embryology is clear that from the earliest stages of development, from the 1-cell stage, you, Aunt Betty, were a distinct, living, and whole human being. You weren't part of another human being like skin cells on the back of my hand. You were already a whole living member of the human family, even though you had yet to grow and mature. And you know what else, Aunt Betty? There's no essential difference between you, the embryo, and you, the adult, that would justify killing you back then. Differences of size, level of development, environment, and degree of dependency are not good reasons for saying you could be killed then, but not now. How'd I do, Kevin?
44 seconds.
44 seconds, okay? I'm slow on the basketball court, but that's getting it done, all right? Now I have a question for you. How many Bible verses did I cite? How much of the church magisterium did I quote? But did I convey truth that was religious in nature and biblically grounded? You better believe I did. That's our job, men and women, to convey biblical truth to a culture that thinks truth can't be known on this issue. But there's another thing we got to do. We have to love our unborn neighbor's mother. 44% of all abortions nationally are repeat abortions. You know why? Because the first abortion never got healed. And the reason it didn't get healed? Because that young woman doesn't know her Savior who came to earth to die in her place and bear the judgment of God that every one of us in this room deserves. That's the story of the Christian gospel. God creating a good world, but we as a race rebel against our Maker. Have you ever thought about this? If God didn't save anyone, would he still be a just and good God? And the answer is yes, because you and I would be getting exactly what we deserve. But what happened on Calvary is God the Father poured out his judgment on his Son, who stood in our place, condemned as our substitute to atone for our sins, so that those who trust in him for salvation can be reunited with their Creator, have their sins forgiven, and be declared righteous so that they can one day join us in heaven. That's the glory of the gospel. And when I talk to post-abortion men and women, I don't tell them, hey, listen, you know what you need? You need an excuse. No, they don't need an excuse. What they need is an exchange. They need to trust in the righteousness of Christ that is given to them on the basis of what Jesus did for them, dying for them on the cross. That
Amen.
is the glory of the gospel. And that message of reconciliation is what that post-abortion woman needs more than anything. And it is the job of us as pro-life Christians to give both truth and hope to people who feel lost and hopelessly lost in their sins. And they may feel their faith is weak, and they may feel, I don't have anything to offer. But you know what? God is not going to judge any of us on how strong our faith is. He's going to judge us on who the object of our faith is. And let me illustrate it this way in closing. I want you to imagine, to borrow an example from theologian D.A. Carson, you are back in the early days of the Hebrew nation when they were still in the land of Goshen, and it's the first Passover. And there are two Hebrew dads, and we'll call them Brown and Smith, remarkably Jewish names, right? And Brown says to Smith, hey, aren't you excited? We're about to be delivered. This is going to be a great night. And Smith says, I don't know, man. I'm really kind of nervous. I'm scared. There's been a lot of plagues here lately. And, there's been blood in the water. There's been frogs. There's been insects. The king is being meaner and meaner. I'm kind of nervous here about what's about to go down. And Brown says to Smith, well, you put the blood on the door, haven't you? Well, yeah, I'm not dumb. I did that. But I'm still really afraid. And Brown looks at him and says, bring it on. I trust the promises of God. That night, the angel of death sweeps through the land. Which father lost his son? The answer, of course, is neither. Because death doesn't pass over them based on the intensity of their faith. It passes over them based on the blood of the Lamb. And what heals post-abortion men and women from the sin of abortion is the blood of their Savior shed on their behalf. It is not the intensity of our faith that saves us, it is the object of our faith. And post-abortion men and women need that hope that comes from the gospel. And that's why centers like this one share gospel truth, to help wounded men and women find the hope they need. I know it's getting costly to be pro-life, and some of us might look at the culture today and say, man, can it get even worse than it is? And yeah, it's going to get worse. It's going to get more challenging. Being pro-life can't be done on the cheap. And we have to have the back of people like Lindy and her team and say, we don't care what it costs, we're going to stand with you. If you saw the movie Schindler's List, you will remember a scene that I'm about to describe. Oskar Schindler in World War II was a businessman who used his own money to buy people off the death camp list. And he would go to the Jewish commanders and say, don't kill these Jews. I'll buy them from you and I'll put them to work in my factory. And as the movie portrays, 1,100 Jewish men and women and children are saved because of what Oskar Schindler did. And there's a scene at the conclusion of the movie that is just gut-wrenching. Oscar Schindler, now that the war has just ended, is getting ready to say goodbye to all the women and men he's ransomed with his own money. And he's about ready to jump in his car, a late night scene. His car is there idling, the lights are on, and the leader of the Jewish people comes up to him and presents him with a gift. And Oscar doesn't want to accept the gift, and here's his response: "I didn't do enough to deserve this." And the Jewish leader says, "Oscar, there's 1,100 of us alive because of what you did. Please take this gift." And Oscar looks at him and says, "I didn't do enough. I could have got more out and I didn't do it. I wasted so much money. You have no idea how much money I wasted." He then looks at his car that's about to whisk him away, and he says, "My car. Why did I keep my car? They would have given me 10 more people for that car, and I kept the car. I could have done more." He rips a decorative pin off his jacket and says, "This pin, why did I keep this pin? There's 2 more people right there, and I kept it. I could have done more." And the scene ends with him collapsing, weeping behind his vehicle, saying over and over again, "I could have got more out. I could have done more, and I didn't do it." And I watched that scene and I can't help but think this thought: are we taking our Holocaust in 2024, despite how difficult it's becoming, as seriously as that man took his in the 1940s? Because if we are, we're all going to have to step our game up. And we can't just be attitudinally pro-life, we have to be behaviorally pro-life. And it's going to cost us all something. But tonight, we have an opportunity to say to CareNet and Lindy and the team, we've got your back, and we are going to stand with you, not just attitudinally, we're going to stand with you behaviorally. Table host, if you would begin distributing the response devices that you have in your envelope. You're about to get a card that looks like this. If you have it, don't fill it out just yet, but table host, if you would go ahead and get those circulating. In just a minute, I'm going to walk you through this card and tell you what we want to do here. Also, if you would secure something to write with, a pen. There's pens at the centerpiece of your table as well. If you would secure one of those. As soon as you've got your card, would you wave it at me so that I can see if we're mostly on our way to being where we need to be? Okay, good. Go ahead and secure something to write with and secure that card. Don't fill it out just yet. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. In just a moment, I'm going to ask you to print neatly the contact information that is asked of you on this card. And I'm going to ask you to do 2 things. First, I'm going to ask you to give a gift tonight that is truly, truly sacrificial. The kind of book that does sting your pocketbook a bit. Now, I don't know what that number is. For some of you, that might be a $25,000 gift. For others of you, it might be a $2,000 gift or a $500 gift. I don't know what that number is. I'm not here to tell you that. But I'm asking you to give something that is truly sacrificial. Where you wake up tomorrow morning and turn to your spouse and say, "Honey, we gave what last night?" Why would I ask you to do that? Here's why. It's going to fund the vision you heard Lindy talk about. The digital ads, which are reaching vulnerable women who are inclined to choose abortion, but these ads that are targeted specifically for them, targeted to their phones, targeted through social media, these are very effective, but men and women, they are hugely expensive, especially when you got to fight Google to get your ads out there. It isn't easy to do. It costs a great deal of money. In fact, you heard that with these digital ads, that there was a tremendous uptick in the number of abortion vulnerable women that were coming to the programs. 34 education programs offered by CareNet. That costs money. It can't be done on the cheap. You heard about 3 medical centers associated with this ministry. That is tremendous, meaning there's a wide geographic range for this. And the ultrasound that shows the woman her child so she chooses life. All of these things are tremendous, but they cost a lot of money. And CareNet needs us to stand with them and say, "Lindy, team, we got you. We got you on this." So I'm going to ask you to write a check tonight that does just that. That is sacrificial and indicates your love for our unborn neighbor and his mother. But I'm going to ask you to do one other thing. I'm going to ask you as well to commit to a monthly amount. Now I can hear some of you grumbling right now, wait a minute, you just told me to drain my bank, now you want a monthly amount? Yeah, here's why. The monthly gift you give tonight is going to not only help the team in its daily activities, it's going to pay to keep the ultrasound machine going, keep the pregnancy tests in stock, pay the staff, pay the electric bill. Both gifts, the sacrificial and the monthly, are very needed to keep this ministry not just thriving but growing. So I'm going to ask you to do both those. And can I ask one other thing? Some of you might be here tonight and you think, okay, I already do give monthly. Can I ask you to consider increasing what you're currently giving? Thank you for what you're doing already. I don't mean to belittle that at all. But would you consider, given the challenges we face, to step up and give a little bit more each month toward this ministry? Some of you might wonder, well, what specifically would the money go to? Well, $4,000, for example, covers medical supplies for all 3 centers for 1 year. All the stuff, the medical supplies that are needed. The petroleum jelly for the ultrasound, the pregnancy tests, things like this. $2,000 provides 1 month of online advertising to abortion vulnerable women. We've already talked about why that's critical. $700 is going to cover pregnancy tests, ultrasound scan, and a consultation by the staff. Again, vitally important for reaching that post-abortion, or that abortion vulnerable woman. A $250 gift tonight provides exhibit supplies at one of the college outreach events, going to where these women are, not just waiting for them to come to us. These are things your money can help with tonight, and I want to encourage you to take your card as I take mine and make a donation to this important ministry. If you want to use credit card, you can do that. But again, write very neatly on the back, we accept Discover, American Express, MasterCard, and Visa. And I'm going to use plastic to do that. I like my air miles, and you may want to as well. But please, would you take a moment and together let's give to this ministry and support this work that Lindy and the team are doing. Go ahead and take your card. If you need to huddle with your spouse and say, how much are we going to give? You can take a minute to do that. But join me, won't you? And once you're done, if you would fold your card, if you're making a check, make it payable to CareNet, put it in your card, fold it over, pass it back to your table host for the envelope, and there will be people coming around shortly to collect your table's envelope. They'll be in hats, you'll see them, they'll be unmistakable, they're coming your way. Get ready for them, but for now, would you join me as together we support this important ministry?
If you're interested, in the far corner over here to my left, you can purchase his latest version of his book, Case for Life, Equipping Christians.